Hello students, I hope you are all doing well. I welcome all of you for the second part of this chapter, comparing quantities. So in the first part, we have come across ratios, percentages, conversion of ratios to percentage and also percentages to ratios. We also learnt about discount and of course we have solved some problems based on discount. So with this background, let's start the today's class. Students, we often listen to the people saying loss or gain in any business, and more often we also hear that people pay taxes. But one must know to measure the extent of them. In today's class, we shall learn how to determine the extent of loss or profit using percentage. We shall also learn how to determine the amount of tax during a purchase or a sale. Students, let's take up a situation. Kamal bought a second-hand bicycle for Rs 3,500. Later, he found that its brake had a problem. So, he spends Rs 300 to get it repaired. Now, he decides to sell it to someone without making a loss. At what rate he should sell this bicycle? Students, now let's try to find out the cost price of the bicycle. Cost price of the bicycle is 3,500 plus 300, which is equal to Rs 3,800. So, he should sell it for at least Rs 3,800 for no loss. Students, when an article is bought, some additional expenses have to be made while purchasing or before selling it. So these expenses have to be added to the cost price. These expenses are sometimes referred to as overhead charges. These may include expenses like amount spent on repairs, labor charges, transportation, etc. Students, in order to measure the extent of loss or gain, we do it in terms of percentage. So, let's find how to determine it. From now onwards, we denote SP for selling price, CP for cost price, P for profit and L for loss. Students, whenever cost price is lesser than the selling price, we get profit and it is given by P is equal to SP minus CP. Let's observe this in the following situation. A shopkeeper buys apples for Rs 100 per kg and sells it for Rs 120 per kg. In this case, the cost price is equal to Rs 100 and selling price is equal to Rs 120 per kg, and hence the profit, and of course per kg, it is P is equal to selling price minus cost price, which is equal to 120 minus 100, that is equal to Rs 20. So the shopkeeper gains a profit of Rs 20 per kg. And of course, whenever cost price is greater than selling price, we get loss, and it is given by L is equal to CP minus SP. Let's observe this in the following situation. Ishan purchased a mobile for Rs 6,000 and sold for Rs 5,000 in the next year. In this case, the cost price is Rs 6,000 and selling price is equal to Rs 5,000, and hence the loss is L is equal to cost price minus selling price, which is equal to 6,000 minus 5,000, which is equal to Rs 1,000. So Ishan had a loss of Rs 1,000. Students, since profit is calculated on cost price, the profit percentage is given by profit percentage is equal to P divided by CP multiplied with 100, and similarly loss percentage is given by loss percent is equal to L by Cp multiplied with 100. Students, now let's try to solve some problems on profit percentage and loss percentage. The problem goes like this. A shopkeeper purchased 200 bulbs for rupees 10 each. However, 5 bulbs were fused and had to be thrown away. The remaining were sold at rupees 12 each. Find gain or loss percentage. Students, to find gain percentage or loss percentage, we must know whether the shopkeeper made profit or loss out of this bulb business. So, let's try to find the cost price and selling price and make a note of them. Number of bulbs purchased is equal to 200. Cost price of each bulb is equal to rupees 10. Number of bulbs fused is equal to 5. Selling price of each bulb is equal to rupees 12. So, with this information, let's try to find the cost price of 200 bulbs. Cost price of 200 bulbs is equal to 200 multiplied with 10, that is equal to rupees 2000. Since 5 bulbs were fused, the number of bulbs left is equal to 200 minus 5, which is equal to 195. So, since the selling price of each bulb is rupees 12, the selling price of 195 bulbs is equal to 195 multiplied with 12, which is equal to rupees 2340. Students, we had found that cost price is rupees 2000 and selling price is rupees 2340. So, on comparison of cost price and selling price, we observe that selling price is greater than cost price. Since selling price is greater than cost price, the shopkeeper made profit. So, let's find out the profit percentage. To find out profit percentage, let's find the profit. So, profit is equal to selling price minus cost price, which is equal to rupees 2340 minus rupees 2000, which is equal to rupees 340. The shopkeeper made a profit of rupees 340 on rupees 2000. So, profit percentage is equal to P divided by Cp multiplied with 100, that is equal to 340 divided by 2000 multiplied with 100. So, on simplification, we get that as 17%. Students, therefore, the shopkeeper has made a profit of 17% on bulb business. So, now let's try to take up another problem. The problem goes like this. Yashika bought a second hand Android mobile for rupees 7500. Later, she found that its speaker is not as good as she thought. She got it repaired for rupees 500 and sold it for rupees 7800. Find gain percent or loss percent. Students, now let's look at the solution. Before that, make a note that rupees 500 has been spent on repair. So, these overhead charges are to be added to cost price. So, therefore, let's try to find the cost price of it. Since the amount spent on repair is equal to rupees 500, the cost price is equal to rupees 7500 plus rupees 500, which is equal to rupees 8000. Students, we observe that the cost price is rupees 8,000 and the selling price is rupees 7,800. So, clearly Yashika had a loss with this. Loss is given by L is equal to CP minus SP, which is equal to 8,000 minus 7,800, that is equal to rupees 200. And loss percentage is given by loss percent is equal to L divided by Cp multiplied with 100, that is equal to 200 divided by 8,000 multiplied with 100. On simplification, we get this as 2.5%. Students, therefore, Yashika had a loss of 2.5%. So, now let us try to take up another problem. The problem says a VCR and TV were brought for rupees 8,000 each. The shopkeeper made a loss of 4% on the VCR and a profit of 8% on the TV. Find the gain or loss percent on the whole transaction. Students, now let us try to look into its solution. Let CP1 and SP1 denote the cost price and selling price of VCR respectively, and let CP2 and SP2 denote the cost price and selling price of TV respectively. Given that CP1 is equal to rupees 8,000 and CP2 is equal to rupees 8,000. Since VCR is sold at 4% loss, it is clear that if CP1 is equal to rupees 100, then SP1 is equal to rupees 96. Therefore, if CP1 is equal to rupees 8,000, then SP1 is equal to 96 divided by 100 multiplied with 8,000. On simplification, we get SP1 is equal to rupees 7,680. Students, therefore, the selling price of VCR is rupees 7,680. Also, since TV is sold at the profit of 8%, it is clear that if CP2 is equal to rupees 100, then SP2 is equal to rupees 108. Therefore, if CP2 is equal to rupees 8,000, then SP2 is equal to 108 divided by 100 multiplied with 8,000. So, on simplification, we get SP2 is equal to rupees 8,640. Students, therefore, the sale price of TV is equal to rupees 8,640. So, now let us try to find the overall cost price and overall sale price. Overall cost price is given by Cp is equal to Cp1 plus Cp2, which is equal to rupees 8,000 plus rupees 8,000. So, on summing these two, we get it as rupees 16,000. And now let us look at the overall sale price, that is given by SP is equal to SP1 plus SP2. So, that is equal to rupees 7,680 plus rupees 8,640. On summing these two, we get that as rupees 16,320. Students, so therefore, the cost price here is rupees 16,000 and the sale price is rupees 16,320. So, clearly the cost price is less than the sale price. So, therefore, here it is a case of profit. So, now let us try to find the profit. Profit is equal to SP minus CP, that is equal to rupees 16,320 minus rupees 16,000. On simplification, we get this as rupees 320. And so, the profit percent is given by profit percent is equal to P divided by CP multiplied with 100. So, that is equal to 320 divided by 16,000 multiplied with 100. On simplification, we get profit percent is equal to 2%. Students, therefore, the shopkeeper made a overall gain of 2%. Students, now let's look at another real life situation. Once Joseph had went to a restaurant with his family for a dinner. When he received the bill, he noticed that the restaurant has charged 12% GST, under which it is written that 6% CGST and 6% SGST. When Joseph inquired what these are, the manager explained that GST stands for Goods and Services Tax. Manager also said that it was introduced on July 1st, 2017 with a tagline One Nation, One Tax. He also mentioned that CGST stands for Central GST, which is to the credit of central government, and SGST stands for State GST, which is to the credit of state government. He further mentioned that their restaurant is instructed to charge 12% GST, under which 6% CGST and 6% SGST. Students, along with GST, we also find other taxes such as sales tax. Sales tax is charged by the government on sale of an item. This is collected by the shopkeeper from the customer and given to the government. So, this is always on the selling price of an item, and so it is added to the value of the bill. Along with GST and sales tax, there is another type of tax called VAT, which stands for value added tax. Students, now let's try to solve some problems on each tax. So, let's see the first problem. The problem says the cost of a radio at a shop was rupees 2500. The sales tax charged was 5%. Find the bill amount. Students, observe the sales tax, which is 5%. That means on rupees 100 the tax was rupees 5. Therefore, on rupees 2500 the tax was 5 divided by 100 multiplied with 2500. On simplification, we get this as rupees 125. Therefore, the bill amount is given by cost of a radio plus sales tax, that is equal to rupees 2500 plus rupees 125. On summing these two, we get this as rupees 2625. Students, therefore, the bill amount for the purchase of the radio is rupees 2625. Students, we have seen a problem based on sales tax. Now, let's try to solve a problem based on GST. The problem says an article was purchased for rupees 1239, including GST of 18%. Find the price of the article before GST was added. Students, before we solve it, let's try to make a note of given data. Given the selling price including GST is equal to rupees 1239. It's mentioned that GST is equal to 18%. So, we need to find the original price without GST. Let the original price of the article be rupees 100. Since GST is equal to 18%, price after GST is included will be given by rupees 100 plus rupees 18, which is equal to rupees 118. When the selling price is rupees 118, then the original price is rupees 100. So, when the selling price is rupees 1239, then original price is given by 100 divided by 118 multiplied with 1239. On simplification, we get this as rupees 1050. Students, therefore, the price of an article before GST was added is equal to rupees 1050. Now, let us try to solve a problem on VAT, that is value added tax. The problem says Sheila purchased a hair dryer for rupees 5400 including 8% VAT. Find the price before VAT was added. Students, we can also solve this problem in a similar way which we did in the last problem. But however, let us try to do it in a new method. So, now let us look at the solution. Let the original cost of hair dryer be rupees K. Given that 8% VAT is charged over this, so the tax amount is equal to 8 divided by 100 multiplied with K. Then the final amount after adding tax is K plus 8 by 100 multiplied with K. But it is given that the final cost is rupees 5400. Therefore, K plus 8 by 100 multiplied with K is equal to 5400. Therefore, on simplification we get 108K is equal to 5,40,000. So, by which we get K is equal to 5000. Students, therefore, the cost of a hair dryer before adding VAT is rupees 5000. So, here we end this class. Before we wind up, let us try to recollect what all things we have learned today. We learned how to find profit and loss and also their percentages. We also learned how to calculate sales price or cost price given the profit percent or loss percent. We also learnt about taxes such as GST, sales tax and value added tax, and in fact we solved problems on each tax. In our next class, we will be learning about two important topics such as simple interest and compound interest. So, hope you have enjoyed the class. Thank you.